Hey everybody, this is Perch. Apparently, there's a comic came out, Bishop War College, and this comic is it's a limited series. It's loosely tied to the Krakoa era, and it's kind of picking up on the thread, but it feels like nobody really cares. And especially as we go into All Mutants and changes that are being made. I think this whole plot line is one of those that nobody really cares about anymore, but we're kind of pretending we care. I don't know. Anyway, the idea is that Bishop was one of the war campaign. Wait a minute, that's a Twitter thing. War call, like he did something for the X-Men that was supposed to be an attack force, but I don't fucking know anymore. But anyway, they did this limited series, and it's coming out later than there's a brief period of interest, like, wait, who are the power structures in Krakoa? What is it? That was 2 years ago, but we're coming out with the comic now. So Bishop is there. Cyclops used to be the leader of this fucking thing that nobody really ever understood, but fine. Anyway, this comic came out, and a lot of you mailed me about it. So here's one of those mails, and this kind of represents a general tenor of what you guys were saying. It says, hey, Perch, another new X book that is just, quote, not for me. I initially saw the cover featuring black versions of classic X-Men and figured that this was just another of those covers that didn't reflect what happens in the comic and done to try and generate free press from the online rage machine. The only good thing I can say about Bishop War College is at least Marvel editorial seems to be cracking down a bit on decompressed stories. This reads a bit like the writer initially wanted this book to be about issue 3 before it got to the end of the single issue. Also, the art is pretty good. Well, there you go. Now that the positives are out of the way, I like. Now the art's pretty good. Now let's get to the shit. All right, let's see. What is the shit here? Texas. Sorry, I'm trying to move over into a lane, and people are just randomly just fucking around with it's this. The funny thing about Texas is that lines on the road are a vague suggestion. That's pretty much what you get out of Texas. I don't know why that's the way it is, but that's the way it is. Anyway, sorry, that was a big deviation. This is what you get when somebody's driving around doing a video. Is you get people commenting on the weird fuckeries of the road, and it's pretty late. It's like 11:30 at night. And that's the time of night when nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, and I'm recording a comic book video, apparently. So anyway, sorry, back to the mail. It says, now that the positives are out of the way, sure. We open with Bishop training some young mutants. Okay, fair enough. I by the way, just for the record, I haven't read this comic, but roughly a dozen of you mailed me about this comic. So, I feel like I've read it. I'll read it in a day or two, but, by that time, the video will be able to record. So, okay. Bishop is training some new mutants, okay, which consists entirely of fighting one another on the beach. I guess Krakoa doesn't have the budget for a danger room. That's bothered me, by the way. Why? Like, the X-Men used to have the super holographic danger room, then the danger room turned sentient during Joss Whedon's run, and then they had no danger room, and now they have to fight on the beach. It's kind of sucks. I don't know. A bit of a downgrade. Anyway, the mail continues. Beyond this, not being great training for what are effectively new recruits, I don't know, Sentinels could all attack on the beach. Let's not be too hasty. My big question is, why aren't they taking a page out of Matrix and using one of their billion telepaths to insert fighting skills into the minds like they did of the Krakoa language? That's a great question. So, by the way, I talked to Chris Claremont back a couple of years ago, and I was standing with him. We were talking about a bunch of stuff, and somebody came up and asked him, like, why can't the Jean Grey basically insert fighting skills into people's heads? Being a telepath, she could do that. We recognize that Professor X could have done that too. Why didn't they do that? And Claremont goes, because that would have fucked up the whole comic. It's like, if they did that, then there'd be no point to fighting. Like, he goes, I'll take you one further. Why is it that, 80% of the fights that the X-Men have with villains, the villain is not psychically shielded? Jean Grey could have just shown up and be like, go home and eat dog food, and if the fight would be over. But if you did that, that would be a boring ass comic. So, you don't write that plot because it would fuck up the whole comic. And then sure enough, in the Krakoa era, they did the thing where the telepaths just, taught everybody the Krakoa language via instant telepathy, and they screwed themselves because now, well, she can do that. Why doesn't she teach them all kinds of shit? Why can't they do the Matrix thing? But anyway, whatever. That's why you got to think ahead. Anyway, Claremont's always pretty awesome about these things. Anyway, the mail continues. Anyway, cut to everyone being upset with Bishop from working them too hard on a handful of conversations with characters about forgiveness and bullying and trying to be better. And now everyone is back together. Okay, I don't know what that exactly means, but it sounds terrible. I don't want to read that comic. God, that was painful. But at least it wasn't the entire second issue of the series. That's true. Thank goodness we are getting rid of a lot of the decompression that is sense. Okay, so everyone gets tougher to go train in a cave. Okay, that sounds stupid. When Nazis show up, because why not? Nazis? Shenanigans ensue, and Bishop gets caught in an explosion that warps him back to what is presumably an alternate reality with Black Cyclops and Black Jean Grey. The only surprising thing in the issue is that they actually acknowledge that Bishop was a villain a few years back and tried to kill Hope. But we're on a Krakoa now, so no hard feelings, I guess. So another X book that will leave no noticeable impact on the other X books. What else is new? All right, that's a good mail. Like that summed up a lot of you sent me. A lot of people seemed really upset with the idea that Krakoa, like Bishop, is on Krakoa, and then he gets pushed into an alternate reality where the X-Men are black, and this is supposed to be a race swap of some kind. Look, let me say one thing. It's they're not gonna this is clearly alternate reality shenanigans. Okay, they haven't made the X-Men black. Several people wrote in going, woke Marvel just made all the X-Men black. They made it black for an issue. He's off in some other reality where they're black. Why are they black? I don't fucking know. Who cares? I don't mean to be rude here, but Jesus Christ, I mean, at this point, why do we care? Why do any of us care? He's pushed into an alternate dimension where the X-Men are black. I mean, the question we should be asking ourselves is, well, who thought this was a good idea or any kind of and I don't mean about the race piece. It's hey, I would love to see the pitch for this. The pitch being hey, we're going to do a comic with Bishop. And in this comic, he's going to go explore the multiverse. Wow, the multiverse? That could be pretty cool. You mean a multiverse where, Magneto was a good guy and tried to found a school, and Professor X was a supervillain? And what would it mean if a psychic power of Charles Xavier's strength was a supervillain? What would that do? You mean we're going to get that adventure? You're no, not like that. It's what, we're going to get an alternate adventure where Apocalypse has taken over the entire planet? No, we already did that one. No, not that one. It's okay. Are we going to do one where the mutants have no powers? And instead of a bunch of mutants, there's 2 mutants, or 3 mutants, and they're having to, they're fighting for their very survival, and we don't know what's going to, is that what's going to happen? No. Okay, well, what's the pitch? What alternate? We have the entire infinite multiverse. What infinite multiverse reality is Bishop going to go to explore? No, he's going to explore one where the X-Men are black. What? I'd look again. I would have been was the editor Wow, mind blown. Yes, let's do that. Like, is that how it went? I I mean, make them black, make them Hispanic, Asian. Like seriously, who gives a fuck? The problem is I can't really picture this pitch of Bishop goes to another multiverse and discovers that Jean Grey and Cyclops are black in this multiverse. There's no way that you could write that pitch without sounding racist as fuck. I mean, honestly, seriously, why wouldn't you say he goes to an alternate reality and discovers that Cyclops is a girl, is like an Asian girl, and Jean Grey is like a fat Mexican guy? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, what, like, is this supposed to be shocking? Is this 1964? And we're like, oh shit, heroes can't be black. Oh wow, how are we gonna do that? No, there have been black heroes forever. The challenge with this stuff, yeah, I mean, again, like, who cares? In all seriousness, this is Bishop War College. It's a book that is a limited series. It doesn't matter for fuck all. None of it matters. It's not like this book is gonna be impactful to the continuity in any way whatsoever. Like, there's nothing here. So I will say, several of you wrote in like really ticked off, and my answer to you is like, it's just, who cares? Just ignore this book. You'll be fine. If this really bothers you, just don't read it. 3 or 4 years from now, nobody will remember this book ever happened. 20 years from now, nobody's going to care. You know, it's going to be less impactful than the first Iceman limited series. Did you know that there was an Iceman limited series? Did you know there were several? Way before Scene of Grace, there were multiple Iceman series. Did you know that the Human Torch, there was some kind of imprint Marvel did for like 2 seconds. It was like Riptide or Tidal. Do you remember this? Somebody will remember this. It was like it was an imprint called like Tidal Wave Fireburst or something. It was like a stupid like 90s kind of thing. It was just when everybody knew the 90s was collapsing. It was like some kind of little imprint, and like there was a Human Torch book, and like nobody remembers those comics. Nobody. Think anybody's gonna remember Bishop War College in 2035? Yeah, nobody. You know, Marvel will be busy churning out like Civil War 8, and nobody's gonna remember this shit. So don't get too worked up about it. Is my first suggestion. But again, I would have loved to have seen the pitch. The pitch of like, hey, what if the X-Men were black? Bishop will go meet black X-Men. And the funny thing is, if I was, if you were an editor at one of these publishers and somebody said, hey, what if there was an alternate reality where the X-Men were black? You'd be like, get the fuck out of here, you racist. Wouldn't you? I think you might. Anyway, I don't know. Look, I as I said, I haven't read this comic. I will read it. Again, I'll most likely read it before this video goes to air. So, it'll be out there. But right now at the big two, they're just putting out comics that they think vaguely they might be able to attach to a property that will sell 30,000 copies. That's it. This isn't a play to win strategy. So, people treat this, meaning don't get too worked about it. It doesn't matter. It'll be okay. This is not something to really worry about because who cares? I have Black X-Men, sure. The sad part is like in 3 or 4 issues, he'll leave or maybe 2 issues. I don't know how fast they're going to move this thing along. Really quickly, I guess we got 5 issues in this series. By issue number 3 or 4, the Black X-Men will be gone. And they'll be back with the hippie white X-Men in Krakoa. And then, a year from now, everybody will have forgotten this comic exists. So several of you wrote in like super pissed off about race swaps and all the rest. It doesn't matter. It's just a multiverse. Fucking who cares? Don't let yourself go crazy by this. It doesn't matter. It's far easier to just not buy the comic. Thanks for listening.